Hello, and thank you for joining us for another video from the book entitled Elohim, the Archetype or Original Pattern of the Universe, written by Dr. Henry Clifford Kinley. We would first like to apologize for the amount of time it took to bring you this video, as the cold and flu season has kept us from making a quality video for your listening pleasure. But now we would like to begin with The Word was made flesh, and this video will be done in a different manner than previous videos, as it is necessary to read some scriptures from the Holy Name Bible. We will do our best to let you know when we are reading from the Holy Name Bible and when we are reading from Elohim, the Archetype Original Pattern of the Universe. Let us begin with Elohim, the Archetype Original Pattern of the Universe. The Word was made flesh. Hebrew is the original language that was spoken by all mankind before the Tower of Babel and the confusion of tongues. On the preceding page, you will find a chart on the original Hebrew alphabet as is outlined in Psalm 119th Division. This psalm has been available since the time of King David, but not understood by the theologians, linguists, and historians. It has also been used by occultists and so-called gypsies in modified form, and is the original basis of the tarot cards favored by fortune tellers and mystics. Of course, these people have no idea of its true value, but they do know there is something about it that intrigues the imagination. The Hebrew letters were and are used for counting our numbers as well as letters. There is a more complex system of counting in present use other than the 1 through 20 as on the chart, but we will not endeavor to go into that in this brief article. To write a full explanation of the 119th division of Psalm and the accompanying chart would require a volume larger than the Bible, for this psalm does explain and correlate everything in the Bible, but, of course, in modified and condensed form in symbolic language. We will therefore only briefly correlate and highlight some of the essential points, so that we might stir up your pure mind and give you an idea of how the original Hebrew alphabet really works. The Hebrew letters we have used are rabbinical and quite modern by comparison, but the pictures or hieroglyphics are as old as Yahweh's purpose and plan itself. The creation came into existence in hieroglyphics or sign language, for Yahweh Elohim willed it, and the sign followed. Like all things in the creation, this chart conforms to the threefold pattern. The individual letters group into these three distinct groups of pictures, which tightly correlate with the three ages and events that transpired therein. There were no written vowels in early Hebrew. They are expressed in the modern language by dots and bars. The first group of Hebrew letters are from Aleph to Zayn. The second group is from Cheth to Nun. The third group is from Samek to Tal, or right back to the universal womb of Yahweh, or pure spirit. 1 Corinthians 15 and 28. We are assuming at this point that you have read the balance of this book and have a general knowledge of the Bible and its contents and the interrelationship of events therein. At this time, please open your Bibles, Holy Name is preferred if you have one, to Psalm 119 division, and we will endeavor an explanation. Psalm 119 from the Holy Name Bible. Aleph. Blessed are the undefiled in the way, who walked in the law of Yahweh. Blessed are they that keep his testimonies, and that seek him with the whole heart. They also do no iniquity, they walk in his ways. Thou hast commanded us to keep thy precepts diligently. Oh, that my ways were directed to keep thy statutes. Then shall I not be ashamed when I have respect unto all thy commandments. I will praise thee with uprightness of heart, when I shall have learned thy righteous judgments. I will keep thy statutes. Oh, forsake me not utterly. From the Elohim book, Aleph, Psalm 119, 1-8. These first 8 verses describe the man Adam in his hermaphroditic state, or while the woman was still in him, Genesis 1:27, and 5:1-2. Adam, in this state, was in the garden and was naked and was not ashamed, verse 6. He kept the commandments of Elohim. He did not touch the tree of knowledge of good and evil, or the fruit thereof while the woman was in him. This is the universal symbol of man, for all men were in Adam and proceeded from him. Adam was Elohim in bodily form, or Yahshua the Messiah, and he knew that the drawing out of the woman in the garden would bring about her deception by Lucifer, the serpent, an ultimate transgression resulting in his own sacrificial death for his bride. Therefore, he knew he would be forsaken, but not utterly. Verse 8. Adam with woman in him was Elohim, Yahshua, in a body. Adam, Elohim, and Yahshua are both masculine and feminine, hence the plural terms. Elohim is a name describing the threefold supernal nature, not the gods as erroneously taught. The letter Aleph is made up of 4 yods, just as mankind is made up of 4 races. The 4 yods point to the 4 corners of the earth, just as mankind has been scattered to the 4 corners of the earth. From Psalm 119, Holy Name Bible. Beth. Wherewith shall a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed thereto according to thy word. With my whole heart have I sought thee. O let me not wander from thy commandments. Thy word have I hid in mine heart, and I might not sin against thee. Blessed art thou, O Yahweh, teach me thy statutes. With my lips have I declared all the judgments of thy mouth. I have rejoiced in the way of thy testimonies, as much as in all riches. I will meditate in thy precepts, and have respect unto thy ways. I will delight myself in thy statutes. I will not forget thy word. From the Elohim book, Beth, Psalm 119 and 9-16. Beth in Hebrew means house, and woman was the house in which we have all dwelled. The hieroglyphic mouth comes as a result of the conversation with Satan in the garden. Verse 3. When the serpent came to the woman, she knew the law, verse 11, and answered correctly when asked about the tree, verse 13. In verse 12, the woman says, "Teach me thy statutes." This necessitated, according to Yahweh's purpose, the transgression of the woman. Adam was not involved in the transgression, 1 Timothy 2:14. And the law or statutes were added because of this one transgression. Galatians 3:19. From the Holy Name Bible. Psalm 119, Gimel. Deal bountifully with thy servant, that I may live and keep thy word. Open thou mine eyes, that I may behold wondrous things out of thy law. I am a stranger in the earth. Hide not thy commandments from me. My soul breaketh for the longing that it hath unto thy judgments at all times. Thou hast rebuked the proud that are cursed, which do err from thy commandments. Remove from me reproach and contempt, for I have kept thy testimonies. Princes also did sit and speak against me, but thy servant did meditate in thy statutes. Thy testimonies also are my delight and my counselors. From the Elohim book, Gimel, Psalm 119 and 17-24. Gimel in Hebrew is the throat through which passed the forbidden fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. We therefore read the woman's prayer after eating of the tree. In the 17th verse, she says, "Deal bountifully, or be generous with me, so that I may live." For after all, she had been told she would die if she ate or touched the tree. Genesis 3:2-3. Next, she speaks of her eyes coming open, verse 18, as did her eyes come open in the garden, Genesis 3:7. When the woman followed Adam out of the garden, she says, I am a stranger in the earth, verse 19. For, after all, she was drawn out of Adam in the garden, and had not seen the outside world. Note also, she followed Adam out. So, we, being the woman or the body of the Messiah, we must be led back into the body of Yahshua, the man. Further, Elohim rebuked and cursed the proud serpent, verse 21. Note, he did not curse the man, Adam, nor the woman. He cursed the ground, flesh, for the man's sake, and told the woman that she would be saved through childbearing. Genesis 3:15-19. Also, if she repented and continued in the faith, 1 Timothy 2:15, see also Galatians 4:4-26, which is in the body of Yahshua, Ephesians 4:4-5. From the Holy Name Bible, Psalms 119, Deleth. My soul cleaveth unto the dust. Quicken thou me according to thy word. I have declared my ways, and thou heardest me. Teach me thy statutes. Make me to understand the way of thy precepts. So shall I talk of thy wondrous works. My soul melteth for heaviness. Strengthen thou me according unto thy word. Remove from me the way of lying, and grant me the law graciously. I have chosen the way of truth. Thy judgments have I laid before me. I have stuck unto thy testimonies, O Yahweh, put me not to shame. I will run the way of thy commandments, when thou shalt enlarge my heart. From the Elohim book, Daleth, Psalm 119:25-32. Daleth in Hebrew is the womb. Since the woman, her name now changed to Eve, meaning the mother of all living, was told she would be saved through childbearing, as we already explained under Gamel. Note, we feel an explanation of the Tetragrammaton would be most useful and enlightening at this point. The Tetragrammaton, 4 letters, are written in Hebrew, Yud-He, Wah-He, and transliterated YHWH or YHVH, or YEWE or YEVE. Since Yahweh, our pure spirit Father, is both masculine and feminine within himself, we add the 2 vowels A for Adam and E for Eve to the Tetragrammaton, YHWH, and hence the true name Yahweh. Adam was the lamb of Yahweh, and the woman, being his bride, would be a female lamb, or Ew, or Eve. A child is of the dust of the earth, and no child can be born without a quickening. Verse 25. At this point, Eve asked Elohim to make her to understand. Verse 27. For she knew she could not keep the law concerning the tree of knowledge of good and evil on her own. You will notice in verse 29 that she would be saved by grace as the law of the Spirit of life, which is in Yahshua the Messiah, her seed, Genesis 3:15, would be granted graciously or by grace, not works, after and by the birth, life, and sacrificial death, burial, and resurrection of Yahshua the Messiah, and the establishment of the new covenant, written in our heart and mind, or our inward parts, Jeremiah 31:31-33, and 2 Corinthians 3:1-3. From the Holy Name Bible, Psalm 119, Hey. Teach me, O Yahweh, the way of thy statutes, and I shall keep it unto the end. Give me understanding, and I shall keep thy law. Yea, I shall observe it with my whole heart. Make me to go in the path of thy commandments, for therein do I delight. Incline my heart unto thy testimonies, and not to covetousness. Turn away mine eyes from beholding vanity, and quicken thou me in thy way. Establish thy word unto thy servant who is devoted to thy fear. Turn away my reproach which I fear, for thy judgments are good. Behold, I have longed after thy precepts. Quicken me in thy righteousness. From the Elohim book, Hey, Psalm 119:33-40. Hey in Hebrew is the breath of life that Elohim breathed into the nostrils of the man, and he became a living soul. Genesis 2:7. These verses describe the breath of life, Yahshua the Messiah, who breathed on his disciples after his resurrection, saying to them, "Receive ye the Holy Spirit," John 20:22, which they did receive on the day of Pentecost, when the house was filled with a mighty rushing wind, and they were filled with the Holy Spirit, Acts 2:2-4. You will note this starts with verse 33, correlating with the 33 years the Messiah was in the flesh, fulfilling the law and the prophets. Verse 33-35 speaks of him in this wise: "Teach me, O Yahweh, the way of thy statutes, and I shall keep it unto the end." Yahshua the Messiah was the only one to keep the statutes until the end, for he said on the cross, "It is finished." John 19:30. Yahshua said, "But the Comforter, which is the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, shall teach you all things, and bring all things to your remembrance, whatsoever I have said unto you." John 14:26. From the Holy Name Bible, Psalm 119, Wall. Let thy mercies come also unto me, O Yahweh, even thy salvation, according to thy word. So shall I have wherewith to answer him that reproacheth me, for I trust in thy word. And take not the word of truth utterly out of my mouth, for I have hoped in thy judgments. So shall I keep thy law continually, forever and ever. And I will walk at liberty, for I seek thy precepts. I will speak of thy testimonies also before kings, and will not be ashamed. And I will delight myself in thy commandments, which I have loved. My hands also will I lift up unto thy commandments, which I have loved, and I will meditate in thy statutes. From the Elohim book, Wall, Psalm 119 and 41-48. This Hebrew letter indicates the eye and ear of the physical body, and in the literal sense, vexation of the spirit. Hence they represent spiritual blindness and hard of hearing, the truth, and this signifies vanity or Satan. But if our evangel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost, in whom the spirit of this age, Satan, the Pope of Rome, hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious evangel of the Messiah, who is the image of Yahweh, should shine unto them. 2 Corinthians 4:3-4. It is his prayer, and refers to him thusly: "Let thy mercies come also unto me, O Yahweh, even thy salvation according to thy word." Verse 41. Remember, Adam and Eve were both blessed and shown mercy, but the serpent was cursed, so he also is asking for mercy. In verse 43, he entreats Elohim to let him, Satan, be right about something. Don't make him a complete liar, but nevertheless, that is what Satan is. He is a liar and the father of lies. John 8:44. Notice verse 45 and compare it to Job 1:7. Verse 46 says Satan will not be ashamed or ask for forgiveness. Verse 44 speaks of him keeping the law forever and ever, even though Yahshua the Messiah fulfilled it and moved it out of the way. Matthew 3:15, 5:17, and Luke 24:44. Satan always tries to tempt us with something physical that we can see and hear. From the Holy Name Bible, Psalm 119, Zain. Remember the word unto thy servant, upon which thou hast caused me to hope. This is my comfort in my affliction, for thy word hath quickened me. The proud have had me greatly in derision, yet have I not declined from thy law. I remembered thy judgments of old, O Yahweh, and have comforted myself. Horror hath taken hold upon me, because of the wicked that forsake thy law. Thy statutes have been my song in the house of my pilgrimage. I have remembered thy name, O Yahweh, in the night, and have kept thy law. This I had, and because I kept thy precepts. From the Elohim book, Psalm 119 and 49-56, Zain. Zain in Hebrew signifies a rod or a weapon of defense and or destruction. Yahshua the Messiah was the rod that destroyed Satan and saved those who abided and believed in the truth. He said he was the ark, Psalm 132:8, and that we must abide in him, the Messiah, or perish, John 3:15. This intercorrelation between the rod and the ark can be further compared, for all perished at the flood except those in the ark. Noah saw a vision of how to build the ark, and also how those that believe not would be destroyed by water. This was the word unto thy servant which has caused me to hope. Verse 49. Verse 51 describes Noah's condition and state while preaching to the wicked, and he refers to the house of his pilgrimage. Verse 54. For after all, Noah and his family were pilgrims traveling from the antediluvian age to the post-diluvian age, and our next letter picks them up after the flood. From the Holy Name Bible, Psalm 119, Cheth. Thou art my portion, O Yahweh. I have said that I would keep thy words. I entreated thy favor with my whole heart. Be merciful unto me according to thy word. I thought on my ways and turned my feet unto thy testimonies. I made haste and delayed not to keep thy commandments. The bands of the wicked have robbed me, but I have not forgotten thy law. At midnight I will rise to give thanks unto thee, because of thy righteous judgments. I am a companion of all them that fear thee, and of them that keep thy precepts. The earth, O Yahweh, is full of thy mercy. Teach me thy statutes. From the Elohim book, Psalm 119 and 57-64, Cheth. Cheth is the gate to a field and denotes work, and is symbolized by all life passing out through the one door gate into the age of works, carnal ordinances. After Noah and his family departed the ark, a new covenant or promise was made by Elohim that he, Elohim, would not again destroy the earth by water. And this is what Noah is talking about in verse 57 and 58. Verses 59 and 60 refers to Abraham and the covenant or promise made to him and his test concerning Isaac. Verse 61 shows the Israelites in Egypt being taken advantage of by the Egyptians. Verse 62 shows the death angel passing over at midnight and the Israelites' departure early in the morning. Verse 64 shows Elohim giving the law from the mount and teaching the Israelites. From the Holy Name Bible, Teth, Psalm 119. Thou hast dealt well with thy servant, O Yahweh, according unto thy word. Teach me good judgment and knowledge, for I have believed thy commandments. Before I was afflicted, I went astray, but now have I kept thy word. Thou art good and dost good. Teach me thy statutes. The proud have forged a lie against me, but I will keep thy precepts with my whole heart. Their heart is as fat as grease, but I delight in thy law. It is good for me that I have been afflicted, that I might learn thy statutes. The law of thy mouth is better unto me than thousands of gold and silver. From the Elohim book, Psalm 119 and 65-72, Teth. Teth in Hebrew is a roof or covering or covenant. The tabernacle is the visible testimony of the covenant between Elohim and man, and these verses deal with the tabernacle and the commandments placed in the Ark of the Covenant under the mercy seat. From the Holy Name Bible, Psalm 119, Yod. Thy hands have made me and fashioned me. Give me understanding, that I may learn thy commandments. They that fear thee will be glad when they see me, because I have hoped in thy word. I know, O Yahweh, that thy judgments are right, and that thou in faithfulness hast afflicted me. Let, I pray thee, thy mercy's kindness be for my comfort. According to thy word unto thy servant, let thy tender mercies come unto me, that I may live, for thy law is my delight. Let the proud be ashamed, for they dealt perversely with me without a cause. But I will meditate in thy precepts. Let those that fear thee turn unto me, and those that have known thy testimonies. Let my heart be sound in thy statutes, that I be not ashamed. From the Elohim book, Psalm 119 and 73 to 80, Yod. Yod in Hebrew is the hand of Elohim, and this section of verses deals with the creation as Moses saw it in the Mount, in the genealogies and pedigrees of mankind through the dispensations and ages. After Moses saw the vision of the genealogies, he understood the transgression and says so in verse 75. From the Holy Name Bible, Psalm 119, Kaf. My soul fainteth for thy salvation, but I hope in thy word. Mine eyes fell for thy word, saying, when wilt thou comfort me? For I am become like a bottle in the smoke, yet do I not forget thy statutes. How many are the days of thy servant? When wilt thou execute judgment on them that persecute me? The proud have digged pits for me, which are not after thy law. All thy commandments are faithful. They persecute me wrongfully. Help thou me. They had almost consumed me upon earth, but I forsook not thy precepts. Quicken me after thy loving kindness, so shall I keep the testimony of thy mouth. From the Elohim book, Psalm 119 and 81 to 88, Kaf. Kaf in Hebrew is a hand grasping or holding onto a rod. From the vision of Moses and the children of Israel, of the burning cloud in the wilderness, and the crossing of the river Jordan until the coming of the Messiah, the pure law which had been given Moses became more and more corrupted and confused till all but the prophets had lost its original meaning and practices. Due to this disobedience in Canaan's land of the law of Yahweh, the Israelites were put into servitude to the 8 nations left in Canaan's land. See chart, volume 4, page 36 of this book. Verses 81 through 84 describe their condition before and after they were carried into Babylon, and until the advent of the Messiah in the flesh. Verse 87 shows how a once proud and mighty nation under Saul, David, and Solomon had all but been consumed. From the Holy Name Bible, Psalm 119, Lamed. Forever, O Yahweh, thy word is settled in heaven. Thy faithfulness is unto all generations. Thou hast established the earth, and it abideth. They continue this day according to thine ordinances, for all are thy servants. Unless thy law had been my delights, I should then have perished in mine affliction. I will never forget thy precepts, for with them thou hast quickened me. I am thine, save me, for I have sought thy precepts. The wicked have waited for me to destroy me, but I will consider thy testimonies. I have seen an end of all perfection, but thy commandment is exceeding abroad. From the Elohim books, Psalm 119 and 89 to 96, Lamed. Lamed in Hebrew is a strong right arm and refers to Yahshua, who with his own right arm brought salvation, with none to help him. Isaiah 63 and 5. Verse 91 and 92 refers to all the Jews who were given the carnal ordinance law. Whether they were obedient or not, they were still serving Yahweh. For all mankind to be blessed required the death of Judas Iscariot as well as the Messiah, so that the scriptures might be fulfilled. The severed branches in the picture portray the cutting off of the natural Jew, John 15 and 5 to 6, or the end of the generations of the flesh, so that the Gentiles might be grafted in among the branches by faith, not planted by water. Then also the natural Jew would be grafted back in if he continued not in unbelief. Romans 11 and 16 to 23. From the Holy Name Bible, Psalm 119, Mem. Oh, how I love thy law! It is my meditation all the day. Thou through thy commandments hast made me wiser than mine enemies, for they are ever with me. I have more understanding than all my teachers, for thy testimonies are my meditation. I understand more than the ancients, because I keep thy precepts. I have refrained my feet from every evil way, that I might keep thy word. I have not departed from thy judgments, for thou hast taught me. How sweet are thy words unto my taste, yea, sweeter than honey to my mouth. Through thy precepts I get understanding, therefore I hate every false way. From the Elohim book, Psalm 119 and 97 to 104, Mem. Mem in Hebrew is the woman or flesh regenerating or being changed. This letter refers to the woman or Israel after the flesh being changed by Yahshua and the flesh removing the flesh by fulfilling all the carnal ordinances and nailing them to his cross. Colossians 2 and 10 to 15 and Galatians 3 and 1 to 3. Every move he made, every breath he took was in fulfillment. The law was his meditation all the day. Verse 97. Yahshua was wiser than all his enemies. Verse 98. Represented by the scribes, Pharisees, and Sadducees, most particularly those of the Sanhedrin Council, and they tried unsuccessfully to bait him everywhere he went. The Messiah taught the teachers in the temple at 12 years of age. Verse 99. Yahshua the Messiah did keep the law and fulfilled all the prophecies. Verse 100. There was no guile found in him. Verse 101. From the Holy Name Bible, Psalm 119, none. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet, and a light unto my path. I have sworn, and I will perform it, that I will keep thy righteous judgments. I am afflicted very much. Quicken me, O Yahweh, according to thy word. Accept, I beseech thee, the free will offerings of my mouth, O Yahweh, and teach me thy judgments. My soul is continually in my hand, yet do I not forget thy law. The wicked have laid a snare for me, yet I erred not from thy precepts. Thy testimonies have I taken as an heritage forever, for they are the rejoicing of my heart. I have inclined my heart to perform thy statutes, always, even unto the end. From the Elohim book, Psalm 119 and 105 to 112, none. None in Hebrew refers to the first fruits. Yahshua the Messiah is the first fruits of them that slept in the dust of the earth. 1 Corinthians 15 and 20. Note Joshua, whom we now know to be Yahshua, was the son of Nun, or son of the first fruits, or more correctly Elohim, the first fruits and only fruits of Yahweh. Yahshua was the light of the world, verse 105. He kept the law, verse 106. He was nailed to the cross, verse 107. He picked his life up and laid it down again at will, verse 109. Those that he helped crucified him, verse 110. He kept the law right to the end, verse 112. Note, Joshua was Yahshua. Remember, Joshua led the Israelites' armies into numerous battles and conflicts. When he invaded Canaan's land and no man took his life, he laid it down at age 110 of his own will. Remember, Joshua was buried near Joseph, who laid his life down at age 110 also. Joshua 24 and 26 to 32. When Yahshua took Peter, James, and John into the Mount of Transfiguration, he told them not to tell the vision to no man until he was risen from the dead again. Matthew 17 and 9. From the Holy Name Bible, Psalm 119, Samek. I hate vain thoughts, but thy law do I love. Thou art my hiding place and my shield. I hope in thy word. Depart from me, ye evildoers, for I will keep the commandments of my Elohim. Uphold me according unto thy word, that I may live, and let me not be ashamed of my hope. Hold thou me up, and I shall be safe, and I will have respect unto thy statutes continually. Thou hast trodden down all them that err from thy statutes, for their deceit is falsehood. Thou puttest away all the wicked of the earth like dross. Therefore I love thy testimonies. My flesh trembleth for fear of thee, and I am afraid of thy judgments. From the Elohim book, Psalm 119 and 113 to 120, Samek. Samek in Hebrew is the serpent and refers to Satan, who is trying to deceive and make us keep the law of carnal ordinances through deception, ignorance, and fear by claiming that the Messiah instituted more carnal ordinances instead of fulfilling and removing them that had already been previously instituted. Verse 120. Even after Yeshua moved them out of the way by his death on the cross, he is still up to his same old trick of making Yeshua the Messiah, a liar. Genesis 3 and 4 to 5. Satan wants us to hold him up and worship him by claiming that Yeshua built his church on Peter, and he, the Pope, is Peter's successor or vicar of the Son of God. See page 93, volume 4 of this book. When in reality, he is the vicar of the son of perdition. Verse 117. Satan has taken it upon himself to murder all that oppose him. Verse 119. Rather than to love our enemies as instructed by Yeshua the Messiah. From the Holy Name Bible, Psalm 119. Aim. I have done judgment and justice. Leave me not to mine oppressors. Be surety for thy servant for good. Let not the proud oppress me. Mine eyes fell for thy salvation, and for the word of thy righteousness. Deal with thy servant according unto thy mercy, and teach me thy statutes. I am thy servant. Give me understanding, that I may know thy testimonies. It is time for thee, Yahweh, to work, for they have made void the law. Therefore I love thy commandments above gold, yea, above fine gold. Therefore I esteem all thy precepts concerning all things to be right, and I hate every false way. From the Elohim book, Psalm 119 and 113 to 120. Aim. Aim in Hebrew is evil in manifestation. These verses are also about Satan now trying to learn the law and reform his church. Verse 124. After Yeshua has already abolished and moved it out of the way. Satan and his hosts missed Yeshua and his mission on earth and are still looking for him to come again in the flesh. 1 John 4 and 1 to 4. Not realizing that Yeshua was raised from the dead and made a quickening spirit. 1 Corinthians 15 and 45. And does not need a successor, for he said, I will be with you always, even unto the end of the world. Or age, Matthew 28 and 20. This statement of Yeshua in fulfillment was prompted by what he had previously said in Exodus 3 and 12. Certainly I will be with thee. And he was with them clear into Canaan's land as Joshua the son of Nun. Nor does he need a mediator or successor, as the Pope and his servants claim. He or Mary or any one of the other so-called saints. Satan is trying to reinstate the law which was moved out of the way, and does not realize that Yeshua has already done the work. Verse 126. From the Holy Name Bible, Psalm 119. Pay. Thy testimonies are wonderful, therefore doth my soul keep them. The entrance of thy words giveth light, and giveth understanding unto the simple. I opened my mouth and panted, for I longed for thy commandments. Look thou upon me, and be merciful unto me, as thou usest to do unto those that love thy name. Order my steps in thy word, and let not any iniquity have dominion over me. Deliver me from the oppression of man, so will I keep thy precepts. Make thy face to shine upon thy servant, and teach me thy statutes. Rivers of waters run down mine eyes, because they keep not thy law. From the Elohim book, Psalm 119 and 129 to 136. Pay. Pay in Hebrew is the mouth in the process of speaking, and refers to the mystery of righteousness, light earned, and the mystery of iniquity, dark earned, being poured out on mankind equally until the end of the age. It is up to the Holy Spirit in us to reveal to us which is which, if we have sense enough to accept and permit it. This has not been a pleasant age for the world. The wicked have waxed worse and worse and worse. Verse 136. From the Holy Name Bible, Psalm 119, Sadai. Righteous art thou, O Yahweh, and upright are thy judgments. Thy testimonies that thou hast commanded are righteous and very faithful. My zeal hath consumed me, because mine enemies have forgotten thy words. Thy word is very pure, therefore thy servant loveth it. I am small and despised, yet do not I forget thy precepts. Do not I forget thy precepts. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. Trouble and anguish have taken hold on me, yet thy commandments are my delights. The righteousness of thy testimonies is everlasting. Give me understanding, and I shall live. From the Elohim book, Psalm 119 and 137 to 144, Sadai. Sadai in Hebrew is the end, as Judas Iscariot was buried in the field of blood, same as Pharaoh in the Red Sea, so is unbelieving mankind buried in the blood of carnal ordinances. Since the satanic host want to worship the law of ordinances figured by the moon, they shall perish by and with these ordinances as dumb dogs. But we, who are in the light, shall be changed, and our fleshly minds and concepts shall be consumed. Verse 139, by understanding. Verse 144. 1960 was the end of this present age, but like the previous ages, it does have an extended probationary period, and it was the first publishing of this book in 1961 that brought modern Mystery Babylon, or Christendom, down in her own blood. From the Holy Name Bible, Psalm 119, Kaf. I cried with my whole heart, hear me, O Yahweh. I will keep thy statutes. I cried unto thee, save me, and I shall keep thy testimonies. I waited for the dawning of the morning and cried, I hoped in thy word. Mine eyes wait for the night watchers, that I might meditate in thy word. Hear my voice according unto thy loving kindness, O Yahweh. Quicken me according to thy judgment. They draw nigh that follow after mischief. They are far from thy law. Thou art near, O Yahweh, and all thy commandments are truth. Concerning thy testimonies I have known of old, that thou hast found them forever. From the book entitled Elohim, the Archetype Original Pattern of the Universe, Psalm 119 and 145 to 152, Kaf. Kaf in Hebrew is a sharp two-edged knife or sword which has been dividing between the wheat and the chaff since our first edition of the book went forth. The end of the age has already come, but Yahweh Elohim has held back the dawning of the morning, verse 147, to allow a space of time for repentance. Christendom and her governments have ignored the warning, and now the space allowed for repentance is also past, and the dawn is upon us when Yahshua shall appear in spirit body form as a consuming fire, and destroy all who know not him by the brightness of his coming, to change our vile bodies into an immortal body like unto his. But the day of Yahweh will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conduct and righteousness, looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of Yahweh, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. 2 Peter 3 and 10 to 12. From the Holy Name Bible, Psalm 119, Resh. Consider mine affliction and deliver me, for I do not forget thy law. Plead my cause and deliver me, quicken me according to thy word. Salvation is far from the wicked, for they seek not thy statutes. Great are thy tender mercies, O Yahweh. Quicken me according to thy judgments. Many are my persecutors and mine enemies, yet do I not decline from thy testimonies. I beheld the transgressors, and was grieved, because they kept not thy word. Consider how I love thy precepts. Quicken me, O Yahweh, according to thy loving kindness. Thy word is true from the beginning, and every one of thy righteous judgments endureth forever. From the Elohim book, Psalm 119 and 153 to 160. Resh. Resh in Hebrew is the resurrection. This psalm is our prayer with the spirit of Elohim in us. We are grieved by the state and condition of the world today, verse 158, and look forward to the dawn of the new day, and the change of these vile bodies is promised, Philippians 3 and 21. We are looking for speedy deliverance to everlasting life, and an immortal body like unto his, verse 154. From the Holy Name Bible, Psalm 119, Shin. Princes have persecuted me without a cause, but my heart standeth in awe of thy word. I rejoice at thy word, and as one that findeth great spoil. I hate and abhor lying, but thy law do I love. 7 times a day do I praise thee, because of thy righteous judgments. Great peace have they which love thy law, and nothing shall offend them. Yahweh, I have hoped for thy salvation, and done thy commandments. My soul hath kept thy testimonies, and I love them exceedingly. I have kept thy precepts and thy testimonies, for all my ways are before thee. From the Elohim book, Psalm 119 and 161 to 168. Shin. Shin in Hebrew is the flesh which profiteth nothing. Therefore, the numerical value of Shin is 0. Now that we in the light have had the mystery revealed, we see the flesh, physical, has no value except to lead us to the Spirit, Yahshua the Messiah. We see how the churches have taken advantage of us, verse 161. We rejoice completely in this true gospel, verse 162. We recognize the abomination that maketh desolate, verse 163. We too love the law of the Spirit, not carnal ordinances, and find complete serenity, tranquility, and peace therein. We are no longer offended, and we look for our deliverance and salvation, which we know to be our reward as enlightened sons of Elohim. We no longer fear the judgment, for we know we are an open book and count on his righteousness for deliverance, not ours. Verse 168. From the Holy Name Bible, Psalm 119, Tall. Let my cry come near before thee, O Yahweh. Give me understanding according to thy word. Let my supplication come before thee. Deliver me according to thy word. My lips shall utter praise when thou hast taught me thy statutes. My tongue shall speak of thy word, for all thy commandments are righteousness. Let thine hand help me, for I have chosen thy precepts. I have longed for thy salvation, O Yahweh, and thy law is my delight. Let my soul live, and it shall praise thee, and let thy judgments help me. I have gone astray like a lost sheep. Seek thy servant, for I do not forget thy commandments. From the Elohim book, Psalm 119 and 169 to 176. Tall. Tall in Hebrew is the universal womb of Yahweh, where we all were before being made subject unto vanity. For the creation was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who hath subjected the same in hope, because the creation itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of Yahweh. Romans 8 and 20 to 21. We now look for the promised Sabbath that we have never had, verse 170. We have now learned our lesson, verse 171, and shall praise Yahweh eternally, verse 175. We have now learned our lesson and have returned to the fold throughout eternity, 1 Peter 2 and 25. This has been an excerpt from the book entitled Elohim, the Archetype, Original Pattern of the Universe, written by Dr. Henry Clifford Kinley, along with certain scriptures from the Holy Name Bible, narrated by Yahshuans giving glory